It's the word on every earnings call this season: slowdown, and it seems to be spreading. Let's take a look at earnings weakness on the weekly update.
Okay, friends, let's talk earnings season weakness. Here's what you need to know. First up, slowdown is being reported from many different segments of the economy. This is what we talked about last week. We got our first inkling that maybe the consumer economy, maybe the stuff businesses were getting a little weak here. We're hearing from different types of businesses this week that shows us that this consumer weakness is pretty broad based. So here's where we were last week. And what you'll notice about all of these businesses, these are stuff businesses, right? McDonald's, Starbucks is food, CVS and Costco is retail, Tesla and Apple is gadgets, Nike, Lululemon, that's apparel. This is all stuff. And that might sound like it's a big segment of the economy, but really we're a services economy. We're an experiential type economy. And so what I wanted to see this week were how those businesses were doing. And if you look at what we got this week, I'm adding all of these businesses to this sort of map that we're building of weakness in the economy. Walt Disney, first up, this one was very interesting. This company is really being carried by the strength in parks, in travel, experiences, vacationing. This is something that's been extremely strong all the way through the economy. And one of the bright spots, and what you'll notice from this week, Disney, Uber, TripAdvisor, all of these are travel, vacation, leisure, experience sort of businesses, and they're all seeing a challenged consumer. So Disney, the biggest piece about Disney's earnings was what's happening at the parks. Next up is Uber. Uber actually had pretty good top line revenue. Their guide was a little weak, but what they're talking about there, why they missed their earnings, were their investments that they made in other businesses. They had to mark them to market. This, too, is a sign of consumer weakness, right? Uber was investing in businesses that they thought had good growth prospects, and those did not materialize. TripAdvisor, another one. This is vacation part of the economy, weakness there. These other two ones are pretty interesting. First up is Shopify. Shopify is sort of an online retail marketplace. They had disastrous earnings. The stock is getting hurt right now pretty hard. And then this final one that I have in the middle is an interesting one. You probably don't know this company. Builders First Source. This is a supplier to home builders. And one of the things we know is housing has been strong all the way through, particularly for the builders. And what Builders First Source is reporting, they have some pretty large inventory buildup right now. So what this tells me that housing and construction is starting to weaken. And these are interesting because all of these areas that you see on the chart here, all of these areas were bright spots in the economy, and now they're starting to weaken, and we can start to see it in their earnings. Unsurprisingly, one other piece of information from this weekend, Warren Buffett had his annual investor meeting, and one of the things that I thought was interesting is the cash pile inside Berkshire Hathaway has soared to a new all-time high. And one of the reasons why I think this is happening is Warren is seeing the weakness that I'm seeing, and what you notice is his cash pile pretty much always builds. But one of the things that I think is interesting is he always has a lot of cash at a really opportune time. And he really only deploys cash at really great opportunities. Here was the global financial crisis, deployed a whole bunch of cash there, so that this is their cash pile going down. Then he built his cash pile all the way through and didn't really deploy any until post-COVID. So Warren really only deploys his cash when he's getting a really great deal, and he builds cash during what would be maybe some challenging or sort of adverse sort of periods of time. Even 2018, a small little deployment here, 2015 into 16, the slowdown, a small little deployment there. So I think Warren Buffett stockpiling cash is something to note. So what does this all mean, this earnings season weakness, this slowdown that everyone's talking about? Well, these points really haven't changed from last week, right? These earnings announcements are important because it allows us to diagnose the current economic health. And many businesses now, whereas previously I would say just the consumer businesses were challenged, now I'm going to say that many businesses are challenged and the weakness is spreading. As we continue to get through earnings season, we continue to see a more challenging environment. And what does this all mean? Well, I am diagnosing this economy as one that needs rate cuts. We need to start stimulating demand. However, inflation is still high, it's still present. And so what is the Fed going to do? What you notice from last week to this week, it's pretty much the same message, but what we're seeing now is how broad-based this weakness actually is. And so the economy is sort of teetering here, and we really need the Fed to make the right decisions to keep this growth going, maybe to abort the slowdown that we see here. We'll see what happens. But there you go. That's the weekly news update. Berkshire stockpiling some cash, and earnings season has been, I would say, a fair disappointment across the board, except for the big tech businesses, of course. I'll see you this weekend for the weekend review. Take care. Okay, friends, that was the video. Hope you liked it. If you found it informative, good, entertaining, I'd love if you could scroll down here beneath the video and give me a like there. It helps us out with the algorithm. And then if you want to be notified first of anything new that we upload to the channel, if you come over here, click subscribe, you'll be the first to know as soon as we upload anything. Appreciate it. See you soon.